Hello everybody, Hyrule Mountain here again. Today I'm going to talk about Kingdom of Dragons by Jed Herne. It's his new series, The Blade and the Fang. So obviously, dragon riders, you're kind of wondering what separates this from other dragon riders such as Dragon Riders Boston or Barked by the Dragon or even Aragon. And it definitely has some things that stands out compared to those. Obviously, we're going to have dragon riders, given magic with the dragons. And it's not just a matter of we have two main characters. That's obviously something we've seen before. Not necessarily with dragon rider books, but other fantasy novels. In this case, our two main characters, Zora and Rovan. Much like with Gunmetal Gods, they are from opposite ends of not a war, but two nations that have previously been at war but are currently at peace. Just about to celebrate 10 years during this story. Zora here is actually the daughter of a character from both sides or both nations, except that her father was something called a Sun Warden, which, without going into too much detail, is a magic user from one side of the war. And her mother was just a everyday average person from the other nation. Rovan here doesn't actually know his background, but grew up in the nation with the Sun Wardens. Our book starts essentially with each character finding a dragon egg. That's not strictly the case, but I'm just kind of being vague here. I don't want to give too many spoilers away. Zora has been being trained to be what's called a ranger, basically what you'd expect. Go through the woods, sneaking, bows and arrows, that kind of stuff. Rovan here was attempting to become a Sun Warden, didn't make it through the training for reasons I will, let's say, I disagree with, but you be your own judge. But manages to find a way to work for what he believes to be his people anyways. And that is because, well, not because of, but that what leads to him getting the dragon egg and being able to go in as a dragon rider at the same time as our other main character, Zora. Because the dragon riders are the primary nation. Crap, I can't even remember what the nations are called. That happens when I don't do this soon enough. But both of them go to trade in a moving to floating island called Legion. Part of Rovan's mission, other than obviously infiltrating as a dragon rider trainee, not just to learn secrets, but to, in part, bring down Elysium, find out how it's floating the slide, to bring it down, and ironically look for Zora, though he doesn't know that's who that is, because with Zora's father being a Sun Warden, he has access to a particular type of magic and a particular weapon similar in style to, say, Stormlight Archive and the Shard Blades, where it bonds with a person, except in that case, the only way to end that bond is for that person to die, which means the reason somebody comes looking for Zora's parentage, or father in this case, is they want that sword from him, so they kill him. Zora accidentally bonds with that, so now they're trying to find, or rather want Roman to find Zora so they can have access to that sword. And it appears that each nation has its own type of magic. Not all of these are shown, but it is specifically brought up. One of the interesting touches on here, other than obviously each nation having its own type of magic, the tensions, the two main characters on opposite sides who are obviously becoming close because, well, they're training together, spend a lot of time together. I think Jed Herne here is possibly setting up his own shared universe with something called the Soulscape, which will presumably work kind of like Sanderson's Cosmere. Right now, all we know about the Soulscape comes from some magically induced visions where we're seeing bits of history specifically following one person throughout parts of their life which lead to important events. And one of these events leads to, and I don't remember the name, and I would say it wrong anyways, but we'll just call it Jed Herne's version of Aegisil, or the World Tree, where in this case, it is an MC Escher-esque set of vines, perhaps, and along these vines that connect, which you could theoretically walk across, and gravity is always pointing towards it. So you could literally be walking upside down, walking straight down, but you're not going to fall because gravity pulls you towards this. But along that, there's different portals leading to different worlds. And that leads me to suspect that along this soulscape, there will be access to different worlds at some point through the series, possibly other series that connects to this. Again, much like the Cosmere does. Or perhaps he's just giving some backstory to expand upon the universe. There is also at one point one character that pops up which is very Hoid-like in nature, which again leads me to believe this might be going in a Cosmere-esque direction at some point. That's not to say he's, took Sanderson's homework and is copying it. No. This is a different story. Quite enjoyable. Up till around 2/3 to 3/4 of the way through, we are exclusively point of view from our two main characters. Once we hit a particular point in the story, and I'm trying to be vague here, we start getting point of views from other characters, primarily, but not entirely, other Dragon Rider cadets or trainees. And actually that's kind of nice because you're not just getting the ranger trainee or apprentice whose father was killed, or orphan boy whose friend was killed and now hates the Dragon Riders and its nation. We also get people who were born in the nation of Dragon Riders, many of which are actually the noble faction, essentially. I'm trying to remember, the eminence is what they're referred to as opposed to nobles. One being the crown prince of the kingdom, others just being plain old rich kids. But there's more backstory in each of those as you get to a point of view, which explains why they are the way they are and enriches the story. I would give this a 3.5, almost a 4 out of 5. I am eager for him to write a new one. Obviously, this just came out within the last year, so it's probably going to be a little while. If you do get a chance to read it, go ahead and pick it up. It's not a must read, but if you get a chance to it, definitely read it. And then, my next book in line here, Dragon Riders of Osden, Omnibus 2, which is books 4 through 6. Thank you for watching and happy reading.